Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Just welcome to my channel. If you're new here, and in this video I'm going to be drawing my Pony Island birthday art entry. And I'm sorry if I sound groggy, I'm a little tired still. I'm doing this early in the morning. But I'm not sure if y'all remember my last Pony Island birthday art video I did last year. I explained Pony Island then, but I'll give a quick overview now, which was Pony Island is basically a browser-based pet simulation game, kind of, but like based on ponies. And every year on the site's anniversary, they hold a Pony Island birthday art contest, and it always has a theme. Well, as long as I've been there. I think before it actually didn't have a theme, and like literally like the year before I joined was like the first year that they actually implemented the theme thing. But anyway, this year's theme was Vintage Whimsy. I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? I don't know. It's a very open, like, broad theme. I was trying to figure out what I want to do for it. I also want to kind of keep it simple, because usually when I do these Pony Island art entries, like birthday art entries, I end up drawing like my entire cast of characters, and I'm like, I need to simplify it because I'm not gonna have so much time this time. And but I still want to include some characters, mostly Tabris, because Tabris has been in every single birthday art piece I've drawn, so I want to keep him in there, like, just to keep the chain going. So I ended up just drawing mainly 3 of my OC ponies. I say OC ponies, they're both my OCs, but they're like Pony Island form. And that is Tetsuya, Adelaide, and Ein. I did them 3. Except I put them in like a 1950s, 1960s setting, because that's the era I like a lot. Now, like, in the beginning I didn't really know what like Vintage Whimsy would mean to me. At the end of the drawing I kind of thought, I guess maybe it's kind of feeling nostalgia for a time you never knew. Because like, that's like the whimsy of it, I guess, is that you kind of like, what's it called, romanticize that era. Like, I know the 1950s and 1960s had their own slew of problems, and all their, like, you know, lunatics out there that were, like, kidnapping and murdering and stuff. Back when, like, forensic science and art and stuff was not as advanced, and they couldn't catch these people soon and quickly. And, you know, I'm sure things like that, and probably kidnappings ran rampant back then, because people just let their kids do whatever with no supervision. I know all that probably happened and it has its problems, but still, sometimes I feel like it's just a simpler time. And while I love the technology and stuff we have today, I just love the tech of that era, like the record players and the, what's it called? Cassettes and VHS and stuff like that. You know, computers were barely a thing, and the cars. Don't get me started on the cars. I love the cars of that era. Like, I wish they could make them like that these days. They just look so cool. But anyway, so that's why I chose that kind of era, that decade. I also looked up what would be considered vintage. In the 1950s, 1960s would be considered vintage. Like, it was weird. I learned something new. So, I think vintage, it has to be at least 20 years old to 99 years old. And then if it goes beyond 99, like 100 years or old, then it's antique, I think. And then like retro is just items that are modern items, but they're made to look like older items, like vintage items. I didn't know that. I was using retro and vintage like interchangeably. But anyway, so I wanted to make sure I was doing an actual like vintage era. So, and I wasn't sure like how old does it have to be vintage. So I googled it, and the 1950s would be vintage at this point. But yeah, so that was like where this time period came from, and I love the fashion of that era too. So of course I dressed my ponies in this kind of style. Now, for these characters, originally, I still need to work on their world. I want to overhaul it because I want to change a lot of things. But in their original lore, Adelaide's a princess, Tetsuya is like a noble, and then Ein is the peasant. He's the peasant, but he gets like adopted into the noble scene area, whatever, through a series of events. So he's a simpler one. And so like Tetsuya always dresses like super fancy and sharp, so that's why I tried to give him a more fancier look. So he has like slacks and dress shoes, and then like the sweater vest and collar shirt kind of combo kind of looks a little bit more, I won't say nerdy, but you know, a little more dressed up. And then Adelaide, obviously she's a princess, so she usually is dressed up too. And so I just gave her a fancier outfit. I mean, for the time, all these outfits are pretty casual, but I still want to kind of shine that through a little bit. And like Ein over here, he's just wearing the basic stuff. He's just wearing jeans and a shirt, collared shirt. So like, and then saddle shoes, which I think are more casual. I love saddle shoes, bro. I love them so much. I finally got me my own pair, like, not too long ago, like a year or two ago. Oh man, I was so happy. I love saddle shoes. But anyway, so I gave Ein the saddle shoes, which are more casual than like dress shoes. And like I said, just jeans and a shirt. Compared to the other two, he's dressed a lot more casual because that's how he is in his original lore. He typically, even though he's like adopted into like the noble society now, and he does wear like fancy clothes, he still typically chooses to wear like not all the layers, if that makes sense. So like while everyone else is wearing like the fancy like collared shirt and the waistcoat and then like the coat like jacket over that, like the tailcoat over that, and then they're wearing like, you know, I can't think of the names, but anyway, like spats and everything on their shoes, and he's just wearing the collared shirt and pants. He's not going to be dressing up all the way to the nines, but and accessorizing. So anyway, I was trying to kind of like put that in this. I mean, you wouldn't know that unless you knew the original lore. You probably wouldn't even notice that he's dressed simpler. But anyway, that was a bit of a ramble, and yeah, so like I said, I want to overhaul their whole world though, so I'm kind of trying to figure that out. But for this piece, like I said, I didn't want to leave some characters out. Like, I really wanted to put Bobby Joe and Dex in there too. They haven't been in every art piece I've drawn, but most of them, honestly, probably all but the first one that I drew. So they're kind of like with Tabris. So to include Bobby Joe and Dex in here, I put them on a movie poster, and it's on the wall. They're probably the most obvious, like you can see the cameo there. Yeah, so I don't know if typically in that time people just had random movie posters hanging in their living room wall, but I put it there because I wanted to put a cameo. I put another movie poster up there, which I just scribbled the words. I kind of was going to just scribble it and hope it looked like words, but it does say Song of the Wind on it. And then for the Bobby Joe Index poster, it was Starship Adventure, which is super boring and lame, I know, but I didn't really have time to think about a better title. And the other cameo with like Tabris, I put him on an album cover, so like, since they'd be listening to a record, I put the record player in the back. I don't know if you could tell it's a record player. I got a reference and everything to draw it, but a record player that has like a shelf below to like store the records. So, yeah, and I put the record that Tabris is on is sitting on the couch though, so I'm trying to imply that that's the one they're listening to. So I kind of put him like a singer, even though he's technically not really a singer in his original lore. That's just for me to cameo, put him as a cameo in there. But yeah, and then I also did another cameo with my Rhinestone Lotus band. I think I explained them last time, because I had a bunch of their like flyers on the refrigerator door for my last entry, but they're basically a fake pony band I made up for one of my birthday art entries. I just threw together some of my song ponies, so they're all anime songs. So I have Star Marker is the lead singer, Gringa is the guitarist, and then you got, why am I forgetting what the song's called? Unravel is the drummer. So yeah, I put them, like, I tried to put an ode to them on the little like record you can see in the cabinet. So basically just I put like, you can kind of see the lotus, and I kind of started to spell it out, but I didn't realize Adelaide was going to be blocking most of it, so you probably couldn't even see that cameo. But anyway, so those are like the cameos. And for like the background, dude, I tried to draw like less ponies, right? So it would take less time. But then I drew an interior, which I struggle with drawing. It took me so long to get that right. And so that's probably why I kind of got behind on my piece, because I'm just busy, work keeps me tired, and then, you know, the days I actually do get to draw, I'm like struggling with the background. And then I was also googling like what old time windows looked like in the 50s, and then I was like looking at like what interiors looked like in the 50s, what kind of colors and stuff. I don't know how accurate I got, but it seemed like a lot of warm reds and stuff, and like brighter colors were used a lot. And they always had curtains, and they typically had, if the curtains didn't have the fancy design, it was like the carpet and the couch or the wall that had the fancy design. So I put stripes on the curtains. I think I was thinking of doing a striped wall, but I decided to go with the curtains. I kind of wonder if it was too warm of a piece. And like, I feel like Ayn kind of melts into the background because he's a warm colored character. So like, especially in this Pony Island form here, because he's like, has orange markings. But like, even normally I typically dress him up in warm colors, and so he kind of like melts into the background just a little bit. But I tried. I feel like, compared to the other two anyway. I was even trying to look up like dance moves from that time. I didn't really know. It was kind of hard to find like a good like tutorial or like pose on how poses on the dance. So without like watching a video. So I kind of got lazy, never did watch a video, kind of just saw some like stills from that time on people on the dance floor. And so I just kind of tried to capture the energy of those movements more than anything. But yeah, that's kind of basically it. Like I said, I got a reference for the record player in the back. It was actually a big old record player that I got a reference for. Like, it had like the part that I drew, and then it had like a whole other cabinet to the side of it where you could put more records. I tell you, if I ever had my own place and could buy one of those, I would totally buy one of those. I would love a big old vintage record player like that. I love vintage stuff, if you couldn't tell. Bro, and I'm like, I'm gonna deck out my whole house in retro looking stuff, like stuff that looks vintage. That's modern. Probably what I would do. Like I said, sometimes I feel like I wish I was born back then, but I mean, I do, but I don't, because there's a lot of like modern stuff that I like. Sure, the world probably wasn't as tore up, like the government wasn't as messed up back then, though I think it actually was. The government is like, if you think it's screwed up now, that's because it started back then. It started back then. The like elites and stuff were like, they were infiltrating at the time. So, you know, this is going off on such a rabbit trail. But you know, Americans are all gung-ho about their freedom. You can't just take it away from them. You have to scare them into giving it up. And that's what the government's been doing over the past decades. And so back in the 60s and 70s and, you know, 50s and stuff, it's probably kind of when, it honestly probably started before then, but that's probably when that it really took a turn for the worst. I feel, I'm no historian or anything, but I know that, you know how almost all of our rights are like taken away at this point in America. And so that is not an overnight process. That's been going on for 100 years. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. That was such a spiel. I don't know where that went. But yeah, so sometimes I wish I was born back then. Sometimes I wish I'm happy I'm born when I was. But anyway, I don't even know if I'm gonna leave that in the video. We'll see. Anyway, I guess that's really it for this piece. I did not place this year, which, I mean, I get this isn't my best piece that I've done for the Pony Island birthday art contest. This one and my blacklight one, where they had like the Blacklight Delight theme. I didn't know what I was doing for that one, so like, I know I didn't expect to place at all. This one I was kind of hoping to maybe place runner-up at least, but I didn't even place that, which, like I said, this is my proudest moment, or best piece. And yeah, but anyway, I still think it's cute, and I enjoy drawing like the retro fashion, I say retro, vintage fashion, 50s, 60s fashion and stuff, and like, I need to draw interiors more. I honestly just houses and buildings in general, because I just don't draw them too often, and that's why I struggle with it. Even like the background, like through the windows, I just threw something there, tried to make some sort of sense, but I end up like basically blurring it out with light, so you can't hardly tell what I drew back there anyway. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I do have a Zazzle and a Redbubble store if you want to go check those out. I'll put links to them in the description. And I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Bye bye.